Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. So in this one, we're going to concentrate on the markets and what's been going on with different Cardano projects, and some having some really nice moves in the last few days or few weeks. Just like the overall crypto market, a lot of green out there right now and a lot of FOMO starting to come in. So we'll start off looking at the overall market, see how things have been going, looking then into Cardano DeFi and some of the different projects that have already moved and some that mightn't have moved just yet. If you get value, please do share it out. Any that I don't dive into here, let me know down below and I'll try and dive into them in another video, or maybe do this in a live stream version the next day. Subscribe if you're new, give it a like, I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Okay, we'll kick it off looking at the overall market, and then we'll get into Cardano DeFi and into Cardano specific projects. So overall, been an extremely nice last week for Bitcoin, up just under, well, 16.5% for the last week, sitting at just under $44,000. You look at Ethereum, up 11.5% for the week. And if you come all the way down to ADA, then you can see ADA up nearly 17%. So in the last, I suppose the last 24 hours, actually earlier on today when I went to record this first, it was up about 8 or 9% in the previous 24 hours. So been a nice time for the price of ADA. Obviously, long way to go yet, but it's nice to see the movement starting to happen. And anyone who hasn't seen this type of movement in the market before, what you will generally see is a lot of the funds will flow into Bitcoin first. And with all the talk of the Bitcoin ETFs and potentially getting some approved in early January, it's not looking at, can we get one approved now? There's lots of speculation that it'll be a few of them approved all at once, and there's different amendments happening to different applications in the last few days, fueling a lot of FOMO. So the reason you see it flow into Bitcoin first, and normally Bitcoin makes a run first, is that outside of crypto, people look at Bitcoin and they get into crypto by getting into Bitcoin. When they're in it, then they start to look around at what else is there. So you'll see Bitcoin has made a move from everyone coming into it. And then as people get in, they start to look into what else is around. The funds start to flow out into some of the other popular layer 1 tokens. You have ADA, Ethereum, BNB, not so sure people will be flooding in just as quick into that, or everything that's happened recently with the SEC and with CZ, but that's generally the way it flows, and it starts to flow out and then flows into the different ecosystems. But if we look at, and this was something actually I put out today, so I noticed that COPI Cornucopias token has been on a massive run over the last 2 weeks. There's a dedicated COPI video or Cornucopias video coming out in the next few days too, because they've really started to ramp things up. So I've talked about the game a lot, we've had the team on and I've shown different things from the game over the last while, and they're really starting to step it up a gear now and starting to get attention outside of Cardano. So we see what they're doing with Neo Tokyo, with Alex Becker and Elio Trades. I seen George from Cryptos R Us was talking about it the other day, and this is all pushing it out to non-Cardano people. So that's starting to bring a lot in there. And you can see that it hit an all-time high yesterday of just under 9 cents. And I started to look then across the markets to see Bitcoin, when I done this earlier on today, was just over 44,000. So down 36% from its all-time high. Now, if you look at something outside of crypto and you see it's down 36%, you might be thinking that's not great at all. But if you've been around crypto and you've looked at the different cycles and how things move, then down 36% at this stage of a cycle is actually fairly good for the price of Bitcoin. You look at the rest of the top 10, so this was without stable coins, and you can see varying from Ethereum down 53, BNB 66, then you have XRP, ADA, Doge, Avalanche, all down over 80, or still down over 80%, Solana down 75. So still a long way to go for the rest of the market. So that ties back into what I was saying about funds flowing to Bitcoin first. Bitcoin runs, then it cools off, people take profits and start flowing or start putting it into the rest of the market. So I was asking about any others that are close to their all-time high or decent projects that are close. Someone mentioned here IAGON. So when I went to look at that, you could see that IAG is, or was earlier on, just under 15 cent, which was getting extremely close to its all-time high, which was set back in 2021. And that's a project that, again, is starting to get a lot of attention now. So like Cornucopias, that has upcoming releases coming up, IAGON has their mainnet set to launch before Christmas. And if we look at, there's a few other projects we look at on Tap Tools too that have had a decent run up And it's all because they have upcoming releases, there's expectation, there's FOMO starting to get into a lot of these different projects. So then let's take a look at DeFi Llama and the current TVL for Cardano. So at the minute it is at 302 million, and that is, for anyone who hasn't seen this before, this is the amount of tokens that are being used currently in DeFi on Cardano. So this is like all of the funds that are in DEXs that are sitting in liquidity pools, or the likes of Indigo that people have used, crypto, used ADA, I suppose mainly, to create CDPs. And if you look back here, the all-time high for Cardano was 326 million, and that was March 2022. So we're getting extremely close to that. Now that's in terms of the USD. So the recent run of ADA going from what, 23 cent, I think at the low, somewhere in around that, depends on the exchange, to 44, nearly 45 cent now. That has helped push the USD price up. But we have been looking at the ADA price for a long time now. Throughout the bear market, we've been watching it, and you could see steadily this whole year, there has been more and more going into DeFi on Cardano, and that's more and more protocols are starting to launch. And if you look around, you see EN Coins launched on mainnet last week. That's a privacy protocol on Cardano. I had the founder on before, and we'll be catching up again fairly soon. You see new DEXs coming out. TeddySwap launched during the week on mainnet. You have CherryLend, which is another lending and borrowing that launched on mainnet too. You also have the likes of Genius Yield, Axo Trade sitting on the Cardano Testnet right now. So mainnet launches should come along fairly soon. So there's more and more building on Cardano. And with in terms of ADA, again, it's sitting at highs, and I would expect this to keep going up. Even if the price stagnates in terms of USD, then the amount of ADA being put into DeFi on Cardano, I expect that to continue to rise. So looking then at tap tools to see what's been happening lately for projects, and we'll refresh this just to get the latest. So you can see the trending tokens, AGIX IAGON, which I talked about a few minutes ago, being very close to its all-time high, is the top trending token on Cardano in the last 24 hours. It's a storage protocol, but decentralized storage, but doing a lot more. It's one that I'm definitely due a catch up with Navjeet fairly soon to talk about everything that they have going on. They have some releases coming out on December 8th, and then the mainnet is going to come out before Christmas too. SNEK up 12% in the last 24 hours. Again, most people in Cardano are familiar with SNEK. Brought a lot of people outside of Cardano into the ecosystem as well to see what it was all about and jump on, especially during meme coin season. I sat down with Goofy Chris 2-3 weeks ago now at this point to dive deeper into where it came from, what it's all about, and what they are looking to do. I think the Christmas card incentive that they have right now, so they've set up a joint effort with 19 Cardano projects where you can send a physical Christmas card to someone. They get a QR code in it that they can scan, and it gives them 16 different tokens into their wallet. Great way to introduce people to Cardano and the different projects, because we all know that when you get a token, you become more interested in it and you follow it a bit closer, you dive a bit deeper. So nice way to onboard or pique people's interest into what's going on here. Up next we have LIFI, Linkage Finance, up over 30% for the last 24 hours. Really nice move for token holders there, and that once again is due to upcoming releases for the token. So Testnet is going to be released, I think, within the next week. Just looking at the date here, Testnet should be out, and things like that generally do pique people's interest, especially in a market right now where everybody's looking at green in the market, and they're looking at this token has made a run or that token's made a run, and they're trying to find the next one. So if a token has upcoming releases, then generally that's one that is no financial advice, but generally tokens will make a move before a launch. A lot of times you will have the buy the rumor, sell the news, which is like you buy coming into an event, and generally there's a pullback after that because people have FOMO'd in, and then there's people taking profits. DexHunter token again had a really nice move over the last week, up 9% for the last 24 hours. Them guys continue to build, continue to bring out new features and getting more attention. So a lot of people FOMOing into the token because they see builders who are active and putting out a really good product. iUSD and Copi are on it for the wrong reasons. Copi, if you look at this, you might think, oh, Copi's down. But when you actually look at the price, Copi, and if we look at it down here, you can see Copi is still up 48, nearly 50% for the week, and up over 100% for 30 days. Also keep in mind, these percentages here that I'm talking about are against ADA. So if your token is up even a little bit here, then that's very good, because remember, the price of ADA is well up for the last 7 days too. So just in terms of Copi, we've kind of covered that one already. Had its bit of a pullback today after a massive run over the last week. There was that sale that I talked about in the video earlier in the week where someone put 700,000 ADA into Copi all in one trade. There's a lot of FOMO out there, and when people start to see the project getting exposure outside of Cardano, then they start to think this is going to be good for the price. Number one, AGIX has been down for the last 7 days. It's way out in front if you look at the market cap, and some people question why it's number one, because a lot of the trading and everything that's happening on it is happening outside of Cardano, and it's a project I need to take a deep dive into, or find someone who knows a lot more about it, because there's a lot going on there with AI. But they also have Hypercycle, which is part of the Singularity group. They have launched their own layer 1. Initially, parts of that were going to be on Cardano, so I'm not sure what parts will be on Cardano now or parts will be on Hypercycle. So I'll take a look into that one at some point when I get a chance. World Mobile has been disappointing, to be straight up, with the price of what's been happening with the WMT token over the last while. People know here I am a big fan of the project and will continue to be a big fan of the project, because for me this is a long-term play. I still have my Earth node, which I'll be running as part of the network, and when you look at it, I think people are looking at this as well, that mainnet hasn't launched yet. Hopefully we will get some news on that fairly soon. There was one of the founders has left there maybe 2 weeks ago. So Mickey's brother has broke off to create his own telecoms business. And when people look at the headlines there, they look at it and think it's not a good look that a founder is leaving and starting his own business. But when you start to look into what he's actually starting, yes, it's in the telecom sector, but it's actually a project or a company that can have good synergies with World Mobile, and the two of them could actually work together, because they're looking at different sectors or different parts of the telecom industry rather than being competitors. So I think long term that could actually work out to be very good for World Mobile. I've seen hints about potential, won't say it here till I get confirmation, but it could be good for WMT holders as well. And that's another project that I need to do a deep dive into, because there's a lot of good things going on behind the scenes. And like we were very familiar with in Cardano and ADA, the fundamentals don't always match the price and match the price movements. Looking then, we have Lenfi. So again, it's a project that should have a mainnet release coming up. Haven't seen a date on it yet. They have been on testnet now for a good while. I think they're still in audit to get onto mainnet, so it's one I'll follow up with and see can I get any information. But the last 7 days been very nice for Lenfi. IAGON we have covered a bit already, and I will try and sit down with Navjeet fairly soon. SNEK, the same thing, we have talked about it. NTX, part of the Singularity Net ecosystem. Overall 30 days still up 6%. The last 7 days has been down 5%, but these ones seem to run on their own. So AGIX and NTX, and there's a few other ones that are part of that Singularity Net group, they seem to, when the rest of the market mightn't be doing anything, they're the ones that can seem to pump all on their own. So I will be keeping an eye on them. MELD, I'm not fully sure of everything that's going on there. It's one that I'll try and catch up with again fairly soon. But if you look at the volumes on Cardano for MELD right now, not really a whole lot going on with 30,000 ADA. Then we have Milk up 23% for the last 7 days. So that is the Muesliswap token. And they actually posted about the refunds for anyone who was affected by the slippage. There is a website out there now where you can go in and you can check if you're due any refund from that. I'll try and find it and leave it down below. Then top 10, we finished it out with Minswap down 1.99% for the 7 days, and not doing a lot right now. There's rumors of different things that's going to be happening there, and with V2 of the protocol coming out, then it's one I think longer term could do fairly well. That's the top 10, but let's look at the biggest gainers. So again, in the artificial intelligence realm, you have CGI. This is one that I've got a few questions on over the last few days asking what I know about it, and to be honest, I don't know a huge amount apart from what I've seen them post on Twitter, and they are developing because they have products coming out. They have their AI kind of like ChatGPT, and looks to be working from what I've seen. I haven't got my hands on it yet, but I will try and see can I get access to it and have a play around. I'm not sure where the token fits in with that, but with AI and what you see in the general public right now, it's no wonder anything linked to AI is going to have a decent run. The other ones we've kind of covered most of them there. So DexHunter, which we talked about up here, even over the last 7 days, up 57%, really nice run. And then if we take a look at the ones in red to close it out, you have Cherryland down 28%. Launched on mainnet, maybe a bit of buy the rumor, sell the news when the event actually happens. iUSD at 86 cents right now. And people ask a lot about this and why it's losing its peg. In my opinion, the reason it's losing its peg is because it's simply down to supply and demand. So with Indigo and their CDPs, I could take ADA, put it on, create an iUSD CDP. So that means that I use the ADA as collateral. I take out a percentage of that in iUSD. I don't have to pay any fees, but now I have the iUSD. So if you look at the gains that different projects are making around here, I could use that iUSD, buy into another token, hope that that token goes up in value. When it does, I then go in and I sell that token, buy back whatever iUSD I need to pay back the CDP and close it out. So there's going to be a difference there. But the reason that we're seeing the peg down so far is that when people get the CDP, they're selling it off straight away, and there isn't that buy pressure to help push it back up. When the markets do turn, I will say when, because look, we're going to get pullbacks. Even we're never going to be fully green for the next months or whatever bull market comes. There will be pullbacks in it. So when people start to get a bit scared in the market and there's more red in it, then they're going to need to buy back the iUSD to close out their CDP. So that's when the peg will come up a bit better than what it is now. You should see a push back up into the 90s, but when the overall market is green, then the peg is always going to struggle. Then the other reds, you have Genius X, not one I've heard much about yet. That's Genius Yield's Launchpad. RJV, it's another Singularity Net protocol. CNETA and JED. JED down because stablecoin, price of ADA goes up, then stablecoins should be going down. Again, when we're looking at against ADA here, AGIX, Indy, Neum, JPEG Store. So JPEG had a bit of a run last week. That's probably why it's down here, and you can see the banner up here. Due to the fees, you get fee rebates for holding a certain amount of tokens. This video has gone way longer than I had planned. Hopefully it's given you some insights into what is happening within Cardano. When you look at the red ones, I would say that red isn't always bad. If you look into the project, you're happy with how you think it's going to go long term, then potentially there's buying opportunities when a token is red. For me, if I'm looking to buy, I'm looking at the tokens that are in red a lot more often than I'm looking at the ones that are in green, because when tokens have pullbacks, especially right now with so much FOMO, you're looking at what are people going to jump into next. So if your token hasn't moved yet, make sure, are you happy long term with the token? And don't jump too soon, because you could jump out of it just before the funds flow out of one other token and into yours. And I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll do a live stream the next time, and enjoy the rest of your week and the green markets.